Hey fellow comrades, how you guys been doing? It's your boys in here and welcome back to our newest Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby Wi-Fi battle. Now basically today we're gonna have a special event. This happened like a week ago. It was announced by Litheo League. You guys know Litheo, they have lots of cool stuff happening. And basically they announced a monotype, well not monotype but basically a monocolor type tournament, and you had your colors, you had to click your colors, you know, and basically specifically made a team around that color, team that you feel kind of comfortable with. And I thought to myself, you know, this team has got some gimmicky stuff which I'll go into at the end of this video. I also want to explain where is round 1, because this is round 2 against going against Dylan, and round 1 didn't happen. My opponent and I were sort of busy, so basically it came down to a coin flip and I was lucky enough to get to the advancement. So basically, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We got Thunderous, Azumarill, Hydregion, Tentacruel. Hydregion was inspired by my girl, as well as inspired by Miguel's bulky variant that remind me back from the black and white days. I believe I used a bulky variant in my second battle, which was very long time ago. But he kind of reminded me of that set with Roost and, you know, basically a little bit of gimmicky stuff on that Hydreigon as well, just for some entertaining purposes, you know, to see how stuff work. You guys know how we tend to play sometimes. But anyways, let's go right into this battle, shall we? Anyways, I lead with Thunderous, expecting him to predict me to lead with Metagross, try to put up the rocks. He does lead with Charizard. He cannot Mega yet. I got Thunderous going on. I got Volt Switch, I got U-Turn, I got both sorts of Scouts, just in case they got like electric immunities at his disposal. So I'm gonna switch out to Blue Scream of Death, of course, representing the monotype blue. May as well go for it. And while we got Blue Screen of Death in here, may as well decide to Mega Evolve. Latias is actually an excellent Mega Evolution opportunity for us, but he does make a clever choice of moves right now, ladies and gentlemen. Switches out to his Charizard, knowing fully well that I will put up the rock, so may as well force me out, as well as avoid any necessary hazard damage on the switch. So basically I have to switch out right now. I'm looking at my team. This could be why he could have Mega Scizor or Mega Latias, but he actually got Pokemon, of course, Igneo, Fairy Tail. I believe I would assume that is that of Natsu from the Fairy Tail anime series. And yeah, it's a Fire Dragon, so it all makes sense. But then again, it doesn't really look red, does it? It looks more orange. And last time I checked, orange is its own color. But anyways, he does reveal the Fire Blast. Of course, it makes sense. Basically all of them tend to run Fire Blast, and does way too much damage, even to a bulky variant. But he cannot risk a miss or failing short, or me being potentially Scarf. So it was a semi-good bluff. But then again, it would have done way more if I was truly Scarf. So he was kind of underestimating the power of his Charizard Y there. Then again, I could run max speed and still not outspeed if he was timid. Anyways, bottom line is I switch out to Tentacruel to take another Fire Blast, but he switches out to Scizor. I can normally outspeed because he's a bulky choice band, I would assume, Scizor, because that did a lot even with the burn, and switches out to Vileplume afterwards, which is very, very good. Now Vileplume cannot touch me. I got Liquid Ooze, which means if Giga Drains, he's just gonna basically you know, stall some of his HP with a move such as that. I'm gonna put up the Toxic Spikes. You may ask, why would you do this? He's gonna go for Sleep Powder. He's unfortunately gonna miss, but honestly, Tentacruel does have the bulk to go against Y, and I think that with Scizor being burned, I can definitely, you know, still manage this Pokemon even while being part asleep, to a certain degree, that is. But he definitely did manage to you know, to miss there, so that was unfortunate on his behalf. Toxic Spikes were to not allow him to switch out to Crodant, because it's a threat, and I don't want that Pokemon to come in against Tentacruel. And as well as basically, well, he still got his Porygon, so it kind of limited his switches. I do go for the Scald, and I do manage to score a burn. So ladies and gentlemen, Japan is scoring right now. It is scoring all over the place with them fishing the burns with Scald. So Scald is incredible. I do need to agree with PokeMD about this. I mean, Scald doesn't have weaknesses. Even under Sun, you just threw it around. You don't do any damage, but then you burn stuff, and it's like, you know, you do way more damage than you expect. But anyways, I do switch out to Metagross. He can either go for the Fog, he can go for the Heal Bell if he does have it. If his Vileplume has got Aromatherapy, he should have definitely used it before, but he didn't, which probably indicates that he doesn't have it. Now he does make an exceptional move right now. Expect the Zen Head, but expect me to expect the Charizard again, putting up the rocks, as he did get rid of those, but he switches out to Immunity to Psychic, which is bad. Now luckily enough, we do have Reflect, which is my filler move on my Metagross. I don't got Bullet Punch, I got Meteor Mash, Stealth Rocks, Zen Headbutt, and yeah, Reflect, but we got only for 4 turns. So this is a bit of a bummer, but he's gonna go +2, ladies and gentlemen. And if you do not know the power of Corona, let me explain. Choice Bandit, Under Rain, Crodan, 2 shots of Fear Torn. So we talking about strength that can basically make your 3DS blow up. But ladies and gentlemen, it is not enough for the power of screens. You guys know how I just basically marvel and praise upon the screens because they make stuff uber related, and its statistics are just generally too good. The physical side, the moves will do half damage, which means Waterfall is like 40 base with stab, considering it's like Hydregion to a certain extent. So basically, even with +2, we take that marvelously well. We didn't get flinched, luckily enough, and we managed to take down probably the biggest threat on his team. But then again, it would have been a huger threat if he would have been used late game, but he used that Pokemon a little bit early while underestimating the power of the screens. Anyways, yeah, I expect that T-Bolt because Azumarill was still at healthy amount of range where anything would fail, like a Tri-Attack, even with adaptability. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna go for that, and then we do manage to avoid the electric type move. I do go for the Volt Switch. Again, he doesn't have a true immunity to likes of Volt Switch, so may as well do it, and now he's in range where Hydregion will take him out. So I got no other choice than just go for it, because here's the thing. If I put up the rocks now, Latias will be a goner. If he switches in on the rocks, Burn will make it a goner. So in either way, I win that position, and I don't see any opportunities to over-predict in a degree like that, because he could have defog, and that means, you know, well, not really defog, but maybe recover in at certain degree, seeing the damage I've been doing. It could just be bulky for all I know. But anyways, I switch out to my Thundurus. Looking at his team, I think it's a very good sleep fodder, if anything. And back to Japan, Tentakind, basically to take on this Vileplume. Of course, he's gonna switch out to Charizard, which I also expected, basically because Thundurus is asleep now. Charizard can come in. He may expect Metagross going against Vileplume, which would make plenty of sense in case like Sludge Bomb happens. But I do make a right prediction right here. Switch out to Tekru, as he's gonna go for the Solar Beam. Solar Beam is on stab. It is under Sun, which means it's just gonna attack me straight out the bat, but it's not doing that much. I am a special defensive Tentacruel, so I can definitely muster, I can definitely handle a couple of these moves. Tentacruel definitely pulling in the ropes. This, I believe, is my first time really using a... You know, Tentacruel is very competitive. It is something that most people use, and I see why. This thing is incredible as it is. I'm gonna keep on using the Sludge Bomb. I will eventually poison the Charizard, but he does decide to switch out to his... basically to his Porygon Z. So I have to switch out to Thundurus to see what kind of move he locked himself into, because this is actually a Salt Vest Thundurus. So I know I can take a move, but sadly I cannot take another one. Plus I know his Choice Scarf, so whether or not my opponent knows that I know that his Choice Scarf, which is the most standard to be expected, then he may make a double switch into Charizard. But luckily enough, he doesn't do that, and we pull into Mega Metagross right now, ladies and gentlemen, which means that this is gonna give us the opportunity to put up the rocks, which we have been waiting for. But again, my opponent makes a very clever choice, switches out to Charizard. But then again, I believe I can outspeed him at this point, and I'm not too sure if Zen Headbutt can be enough. If he's got some HP investment, then I may actually fail. And Stealth Rocks are still again up there. Once Charizard goes out, it's basically kind of gonna come in, but the damage is gonna be too real. So he does go for the Fire Blast. He's unfortunately gonna miss. It was used against Tentacruel with the resistance. I would assume it would take me down to about 120 at max, but that's about it. Tentacruel would definitely take 3 of those, I would assume. Still, he's gonna switch out to Vileplume. I'm gonna go for the Sludge Bomb right now. Sun is up, which means if Vileplume does have the Moonlight, it's basically gonna recover, if I'm not mistaken, 75% of HP, which is actually quite ridiculous. Actually, this felt like using maybe an Umbreon under Sun like this, but then again, Sun isn't all that, you know, its extending time in here isn't all that you know, all that great. So basically it would have been sort of a backfire if people used fire type related Pokemon as well, but I'm talking about ideas for other teams and other bells. But anyways, back to the bell. Moonlight, he's gonna switch out to his Latias. I could have put up the T-Spikes for Porygon to a certain extent, but I don't think Porygon is all that big of a deal right now. I just need to sack something and switch out, you know, basically to something that can handle it. I do have things of natures of resistances, and I can definitely handle this Porygon's diverse move pool. Anyways, I'm switching out to Hydregion to fully expect to die, basically to be a Death Fire right now. I don't want my Sleep Inducer, Sleep Pokemon to be taken down, because that will only allow Wildplume to put something else to sleep, because that's Sleep Claws. So switch out to Hydreigon, fully expect to die, but what I expected it to be a dead Hydreigon, Dark Pulse came in, expect the Mega Metagross, and it became the most healthiest Hydreigon around. So that was pretty cool. Mamura going for the Roost, basically regaining all that lost HP. Gonna go for the Torment again. This was inspired by my girl, and basically I was kind of helping her in some other format strategy fashions, and you guys can see Torment is actually very interesting, but it's basically meant for Azumarill. You know, once you go for the Torment, not the opponent being affected by this, he cannot use the same move twice, which can actually shuffle around their moves. But if they shuffle around, this may make Azumarill's opportunity to set up a little bit easier. All you need to do is have the knowledge of Pokemon you're facing, you know, like for example a Choice Scarf Porygon, you know, into Torment, he's kind of locked into struggle after that. And stuff like that, you know, basically. But anyways, I'm gonna go for the Rain Dance right now. Moonlight is gonna get affected. Moonlight only recovers 25%, I believe, and if he switches out to Charizard on that turn, Rain Dance, I believe, would still get rid of the drought. And again, I cannot seem to say for certain. Now, what I can say is that the weakness to fire on the Scizor has been removed, but it's not a problem because Scizor has been burned, and that the crew can definitely take this Pokemon on. So Bug Bite, this, if it is choice banned, I'm not seeing lefties, then basically if I switch out to Azumarill, I may potentially set up on this, but I'm gonna stay in because I don't want to play this game. And he does switch out to Porygon, which gives me assuming that he does predict me to switch out to Azumarill. Again, the basic resistance to Bug Bite, and me knowing that he's choice banned, he cannot play this. Plus, he just cannot play with Scizor. Scizor is just a setup opportunity for it, and I can just Aqua Jet afterwards and destroy. I guess, yeah, I would have definitely destroyed with Aqua Jet. But that's why Porygon came in, predicting the Scizor, I would assume. Sadly enough, that was not the case. The Charizard is gonna come in afterwards, and Tentacruel is really pulling in. It's really pulling in, especially against the drought. You gotta understand that I got manual rain while he's got auto drought, auto sun involved. So basically we got some you know, some upper hand to a certain extent with the base on the typing, but then we got also Solar Beam, which is a huge problem towards water types like mine. But luckily enough, it's not coming down to that, because Tentacruel is an excellent stop to the likes of Charizard. Why? To a certain extent, I mean, it's still doing damage. I'm not denying that. Charizard Y is an incredibly powerful Pokemon. You know, considering this is a special defensive Tentacruel, and those are definitely nothing to laugh about. But I'm gonna go for the Scald right now, see how much damage I can actually do. Plus, I don't want to be risking, you know, I don't want to be throwing around too many Sludge Bombs. Plus, at the same time, thinking he may switch out. Now at this point he should have probably switched out, because I do manage to score, and now he cannot switch in anymore. Stealth Rocks are put into place. One Drought goes out, he will need to go for the Roost. He will need to either bank on Air Slash, flinching me a lot. This Air Slash does a considerable amount of damage, a little bit less than Solar Beam, but it still does a lot of damage, and Drought does go away. But now he's in a range where Stealth Rocks will take him out. He doesn't have any way to get rid of this, so he will either need to Roost and hope I'm not gonna Scald, or he will have to switch out Wildplume and basically make this Charizard Death Fire. These are his last two remaining. I'm gonna go for the Scald right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm doing a lot of damage. With the help of Poison, I'm doing way more than he's regaining from Roost. So if we don't take him out in this next shot, we should handle him afterwards. Again, he doesn't have like leftovers or anything to help him out, so we're definitely doing much more than he's gaining from this. So this Roost is gonna be final right now. We're gonna go for the Scald. I would assume this would have been final, but we actually, if I'm not mistaken, score a crit right here, which makes it only speed up the process. So basically, The unavoidable Charizard Y, of course, being taken down by the Scald. He's gonna switch out to Scizor. I guess he could have switched out to Scizor back then and just sack it at that point, but now he doesn't have any other choice. He's gonna switch out to Scizor. Tentacruel doesn't have any investment into speed outside of 4 points, but Scizor, you know, some of this choice band sets are more bulky variants with the investment into attack and HP. They don't really play with speed because their speed is already questionable, and they do outspeed a couple of walls and things, but sadly enough, Tentacruel is actually considered a very, very fast Pokemon, 100 base speed if I'm not mistaken, so that's actually very good considering it's a especially defensive wall, but we could actually call it a tank at this point because it's actually taking stuff down, which is very, very cool. I'm gonna switch out to Kingdra, expecting the Giga Drain Sludge Bomb, but he actually crits me. I wanted to show him I got Focus Energy, Draco Meteor, substitute Waterfall set with Skullplant, so I'd have always crit, but it came down to, you know, a crit, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna switch out to Mega Metagross and not play any more games. What I know fully sure is that Headbutt should take this thing down, but because based on damage, this could actually be an offensive Vileplume. I would have been surprised, but it's been doing a lot of damage to my team. Still, ladies and gentlemen, that was the match against Dylan. I need to say something. By no points did the scorer of this battle showcase anything. My opponent was a clever player, you know. He made some clever choices with Charizard there, switching out to Porygon, expecting me to switch out to Azumarill, having the Scizor as an opportunity to set up with Belly Drum, and those were some really clever moves. Sadly enough, it didn't go into his favor. We also scored some burns, so that definitely bite him with Scizor there being choice banned. That would have been a huge difference. Crawdaunt was his only mistake. I would assume, you know, Crawdaunt could have been an excellent beast late game, if anything, with Rain especially. But with Crawdaunt out of the picture, Rain was a little bit easier to set up. And honestly, looking at stuff right now, just looking at his team, Rain was basically meant for Azumarill, and Torment was meant to support Azumarill. It's just basically Belly Drum, max HP investment, max attack, and pretty much go from there. But generally speaking, Crawdaunt could have pulled a 6-0, if I'm not even kidding. Crawdaunt could have potentially pulled a 6-0 if it was used a little bit later. But then again, maybe a 5-0 or 4-0. But he was a huge problem. So getting rid of that Pokemon, not getting flinched by Waterfall, was huge. But still, you know, scores like this came down to all my Pokemon being alive, but it didn't really matter because, again, like I said, at some point I was fully expecting Hydregion to go down just for him to expect my Mega Metagross to come in. So I guess Mega Metagross, Hydregion, and Thunderous typing did kind of pull in some good coverage resistances to the likes of Porygon, making my opponent to shuffle around moves and overthink his actions, and basically costing him, because he was Choice Scarf, he was forced to switch out afterwards. Yeah, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to give a like if you did enjoy, it really means a lot. Leave some comments regarding this battle, how you feel about the battle, you know, how the battle gone. Mistakes, good plays, let it be known in the comment section below. You know, it's always a pleasure reading those, as we tend to like learn more from you know, from other people's perspective, and it makes us a better. You know, sometimes we lose, sometimes we win, but you know, in each case scenario, we're going into round 3, and hopefully we're gonna have ourselves a spectacular match. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care, peace.